I've been lucky enough to have an invite down to the Yamaha Off Road Experience Centre to witness the Jones family to open their new building. The Jones family have been in the off-road game now for a long time, and I believe that they've been in Wales for over 30 years with the Yamaha Experience Centre. The centre offers a wide range of bikes now to ride, from enduro bikes to adventure bikes. I'm here today to test out the adventure bike, you know, the Yamaha Tenere 700. It's going to be my first time to ride the bike, so I'm really looking forward to see what the capabilities are. Obviously my experience is off-road, motocross track, a little bit of enduro. You know, I can get by with most things off-road, so it's going to be really interesting to see what my take is on the adventure bike and what I'm capable to do on it. I really enjoyed riding the bike. I've got to say, I just felt at home straight away on it. I mean, as soon as I got onto the bike, you know, it felt a little bit wide. I mean, it's quite a wide bike to what I'm normally used to riding anyway. But straight away, the levers, everything like that, the position of the bike, it put me in a good position. All the levers, neutral position, the clutch, brake, starting. You know, I even worked the monitor and turned off the ABS and got some good ride time out on the trails, and it surprised me on what the bike could do. I mean, first and foremost, the bike is quite a basic bike, but it makes it appealing because it seems like, you know, there was nothing really that was just too alien to me that I couldn't get my head around very quickly. And again, as soon as I rode the bike and went straight off the trail and followed the guide, one of the things that was so noticeable straight away was how usable and broad the power was. The gear ratio was perfect. So just went along, you know, first had a little see what that was capable of, pick up the revs as you do, switched to second, and then was straight into third, and was pretty much off there into the hillside. And it was nice to ride on a trail which was bumpy and quite narrow, and you know, made it a bit fun where you could pop and bounce off a couple of the bumps, and just, you know, as you was going through the trees, it was fun, and the bike did handle a lot better than what I thought it could do. When I stopped with the guys and spoke to them, you know, they pretty much said that, you know, most guys that go on that riding experience wouldn't experience that trail. They'd keep more to the fire road. So I took that as a positive. So they obviously trust my ability, but at the same time as well, you know, I give credit to the bike because straight away I felt comfortable enough to be able to do that. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm not doing that. You know, we went straight into it. And the more that I rode the bike throughout the day, the more that I felt at home on it. We had all weathers, you know, it was sunny, it was raining, slippery conditions. We had, you know, we went on some slate, rode up some tricky slate hill climbs, and you know, even just hit a couple of steep banks to get a bit of air and get the wheels off the ground. And through some riverbeds as well. Yeah. For me, the people, what they're always asking is one, like, do I feel comfortable on the bike, or did I feel comfortable on the bike? Yes. Was the power too much? No. Was the bike capable of riding off-road? Yeah, it was. It was more than capable of riding off-road. It surprised me how much you could do, and even on the descent on one of the runs that we come down, it was quite rutty, and just picking your line and hitting a tree stump which was buried under a puddle, you know, or hitting a tree stump which wasn't so visible. My wrist did feel it. One of the negatives regarding the bike in standard form for me personally is the suspension is too soft for that type of terrain. Also as well, you know, it's a short circuit bike, and when I say that, I mean, like, you know, if you're going to purchase one of these bikes, you're definitely not going to be going onto a big tour. It's more of an adventure bike which you can use a close circuit, you know, get to the shops, as long as you're in a riding distance of the place where you need to go and you're not venturing too far out. I mean, for me, the bike was brilliant and was good fun. You know, if somebody asked me to come along and do that again, or pop along to my house and we go for a ride, then yeah, I'd be keen to do it. It's a twin cylinder engine, which is really different. 700cc. It seems an odd number out of the 700cc, like to me anyway, obviously coming from the motocross or having a motocross background. But again, it was just such usable, friendly power. I did give it some, you know, going along a couple of the fire roads and got a little bit of a speed jump, you know, a speed jump out of the bike as well. And even on coming down some of the descents on the grass, it was stable. The bike was stable, and you could ride. Again, if you are pushing it, you know, hard across the off-road terrain on some of the, you know, the bumpy descents or the hill climbs, then the suspension definitely does need to be upgraded, because it is easy to bottom it out, or I found it easy to bottom the suspension out. And at that point, you know, you do get a clunk and you do feel the ground underneath you. But that said, I had a little spin on the Tenere 700 World, and that had upgraded suspension, which you could instantly feel. And also it's got extra mod cons, which I'm not going to go into because in all honesty I don't know enough about, but I know that the fuel capacity is much more. I think somewhere between 5 and 6 litres more, and the suspension being a lot better as well. But the reason why I didn't spend too much time on that bike was because the tyres that it had on the bike were more street. You know, they were more for on the road, and with the weather forever changing, wet and slick and grass and mud, I didn't really want to ride that bike too much, because I didn't have a good enough previous experience with the bike. But what I did do is I did go on one of them kind of climbs and shaley climbs, and instantly I did feel that the suspension was a lot better, which basically helped the bike track a lot better than just the standard Tenere. With the upgraded suspension, it just felt such a more stable ride, and when you was accelerating, you didn't feel so much squat, or when you was coming down the run as well, the bike didn't collapse so quick. So you know, so that was a big positive for me, just in that short time, feeling the difference between the two models. If you're looking at buying one of these bikes, I'd highly recommend that you go to an adventure centre and try the bikes out, and just get a good feel so you can get a good feel for the bike and see what you're purchasing. It's definitely going to be, you know, worth the trip. So, you know, with it being, is it a crossover bike? Can you do a bit of both? I mean, you could ride around a motocross track. There's no two ways that you could ride around a motocross track. You wouldn't really want to be riding around the motocross track too much, though, if I'm honest. You can pick yourself some nice little sections and do some technical climbs and have fun that way. And yeah, again, like, you know, when we went out onto the farm road, the bike felt so stable and manoeuvrable. You know, it surprised me how easy the bike allowed me to stand and feel in a very comfortable neutral position, and it encouraged you to stand up. Not to say that you can't ride it sitting down, but actually, you know, I can see now why most people, you know, when they're riding these bikes in places, are just, you know, standing straight legged and just enjoying the ride, because it encourages you to do that. But going to the bike, you know, does it favour the road more than the off-road? You know, it's not a cop out here, but it does actually favour both very well. Just from the experience that I had with obviously the only bike that I've ridden, the adventure bike that I've ridden, I was surprised how much it did off-road, definitely, and how I wasn't fazed by some of the things that I was tackling. And at the same time as well, yeah, I mean, a bike on the road, I mean, you know, it's an enjoyable ride anyway, if you ask me, compared to riding around a bumpy motocross track.